Welcome to Real Reddit Stories. Today we have 3 insane stories. Let me know in the comments which one shocked you the most. I thought my wife's nursing shifts were just brutal. She worked 4 days on, 3 days off at a hospital 3 hours from our home. We'd been married for 11 years, and I never questioned it. She was dedicated to her career, and I respected that. Our 2 kids adored her during her days home. Last month, my daughter needed emergency surgery. I called my wife frantically, but she didn't answer. I called the hospital directly, begging them to pull her from her shift. The receptionist paused and said, "Sir, we don't have anyone by that name on staff. We never have not." My world stopped spinning. I hired a private investigator that same week. What he found destroyed everything I thought I knew about my life. My wife had another husband, another house, 2 other children, ages 8 and 6. She'd been living this double life for 9 years, splitting her time between 2 complete families. She had different last names, different friend groups, different everything. The other husband thought she was a pharmaceutical sales rep who traveled constantly. When I confronted her, she didn't even cry. She just looked exhausted and said, "I couldn't choose. I loved both lives." She explained it started as an affair, but then she got pregnant. Instead of confessing, she just kept building 2 houses of cards, perfectly balanced, until I knocked them both down. I contacted the other husband. We met at a diner halfway between our homes, and sat in stunned silence for 20 minutes before either of us could speak. He's a decent guy, a teacher, completely blindsided like me. Our kids are technically half-siblings, who have never met. The divorce is happening now. She's lost both families, both homes, everything. She's staying with her sister, who apparently knew the whole time, and helped cover for her. I can't even process that betrayal. My kids keep asking when mom's coming back for her regular days. I don't know how to explain that mom's regular days were spent being someone else's mother. I'm in therapy now, and my therapist says it'll take years to unpack this. She's probably right. Some lies are so big they reshape your entire history. Now for the next story. Alright, story number 2 is even crazier. Jake and I built our app together in my garage. We were best friends since college, stayed up countless nights coding, eating cold pizza, dreaming about changing the world. The app was my original concept, but we were equal partners. At least, that's what I believed. When we needed funding, Jake handled the investor meetings, since he was better at presentations. I trusted him completely. He was the best man at my wedding. He cried during his toast about brotherhood and loyalty. 3 months ago, I discovered he'd registered the company solely in his name. Every document, every patent, every piece of intellectual property. When investors wrote checks, they went to his company. I was never legally a co-founder. I was just some guy who helped him build his empire. The app sold last month for $47 million. Jake got everything. I got nothing. When I confronted him, he smiled and said, "Business is business, man. You should have read the paperwork." I couldn't afford a lawyer to fight him. He knew that. He'd calculated every angle, exploited our friendship like a vulnerability in code. His new girlfriend posts pictures of their yacht on Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm working tech support to pay rent. But here's where it gets interesting. Jake's new CTO reached out to me last week, privately. Apparently Jake's been treating employees terribly since the acquisition. The entire engineering team despises him. This CTO found emails proving Jake stole code from a previous employer and incorporated it into our app. That previous employer is a Fortune 500 company with very aggressive lawyers. I've already sent anonymous tips to their legal department with evidence attached. Jake doesn't know the storm coming for him. The acquisition had clauses about intellectual property ownership. If that code was stolen, the entire deal unravels. He could lose everything and face criminal charges. I know revenge won't give me back my company or my best friend. But watching him lose everything he stole might give me some peace. My therapist says I need to let go of anger, but honestly, some betrayals deserve consequences. Jake taught me that business is business. Now he's going to learn that lesson himself. Now for the next story. And our final story today. Everything was perfect until the reception speeches. 300 guests, fairy lights, the love of my life beside me. Then my drunk uncle grabbed the microphone. To the bride, he slurred, who's just as beautiful as her real father. Too bad he couldn't be here, right, Susan? He looked directly at my mother, laughing at his own cruel joke. The room went silent. My mother's face turned white. My dad, the man who raised me, started shaking. My new husband squeezed my hand, confused. I was frozen in my wedding dress, watching my family implode in real time. My aunt yanked the microphone away, but the damage was done. Guests whispered. My grandmother started crying. My mother ran to the bathroom, and I followed, wedding dress trailing behind me. She confessed everything between sobs. Before she married my dad, she had a brief affair with his brother, my uncle. The drunk idiot who just ruined my wedding was actually my biological father. My dad knew from the beginning and chose to raise me anyway. They'd kept the secret for 28 years. I walked back into my reception in shock. My biological father was sitting at the family table, too drunk to realize he'd just detonated a bomb. My real dad, the one who taught me to ride a bike and walked me down the aisle, was standing outside alone, smoking a cigarette he'd quit 10 years ago. I went to him first. I hugged him and said, "You're my dad. You've always been my dad." He cried harder than I'd ever seen him cry. The reception continued awkwardly. My husband and I cut the cake while relatives avoided eye contact. We left for our honeymoon the next morning, and I didn't speak to my mother for 3 weeks. That was 6 months ago. Family therapy has helped some. My biological father finally apologized when he sobered up. But every family gathering feels like walking through a minefield now. My husband jokes that at least our wedding was memorable. He's not wrong. People definitely remember it, just not for the reasons we'd hoped. I'm slowly forgiving my mother, but some secrets shouldn't be kept for nearly 3 decades. She robbed me of choosing how to learn the truth. That wound is still healing.